He's getting Nancy. Oh, hello.
Does anyone know that Lion King song? That was an Italian rendition, Jess.
I don't think he wants to be in this live, you
Here we
guys.
go. I'm gonna do a watch party so that we can all watch it.
Yeah, Teddy watch party.
I don't actually know how to do the watch party. I thought it was much more obvious.
I don't think you can do watch party anymore. Anyone else know?
Oh, well.
I think you can just share it. Asia!
Asia, it's your favorite. It's your favorite.
Hey.
I think it's called God. Isn't it like God puppy, like Godson?
Yeah.
Godmother.
I
It's
think
your godmother, Asia.
I think he's gained twice. Like, he's twice as heavy as he was
He
when you were
is,
here.
and he's still scrawny.
Yeah, and we've, like, upped his dose of food by a third, and he's still hungry. I'm like, oh my gosh, this child, he's eating so much food! Well, you guys, that's not the topic that we were going to chat about.
But Teddy does have something to say. He was telling us earlier.
Yeah, he was just saying that
You want to jump down?
he knows how to signal when he needs to go potty outside. He hasn't had an accident yet today.
Which is huge.
He's so amazing.
He's used to like peeing everywhere on our wood floor in the basement, and then we clean it up.
Literally, you guys, we even went to the office to do interviews today, and he hadn't gone on the floor at all. He's so amazing. He's doing so great. So proud of him. He's almost fully potty trained. Okay. He knows not to go in the house. He just sometimes goes in the house if I'm not giving him my complete attention, and he like whimpers to signal he needs to go out and I don't hear it. Thank you, Asia. But yeah, so office recruiting today was great. I think we interviewed 4 people today, which that has been so fun to take new people onto the team and just like integrate them into this process, like get to know their network, support them to be productive. Like, some of these people have no sales experience at all, and yet we're able to just like take them in and show them the reins and teach them how to do sales and see what kind of technique is best for them. Like, some people like to do social media. Some people are like, let me go door to door. I'm about to go door to door. Hey, I'm going door to door right now, and this is what's like. Literally, they go out before we even do the training. We're like, no. Some people are like, yeah, I want to do cold calling. I'm like, okay, if that's your thing, let's do it. Yeah, but otherwise, it's just been like fascinating to see people develop in that area. Like I said, even if they haven't had any sales experience. What about you? What have you observed within the office recruiting? Because that's been really fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, so over the past year, we've been building our sales team here in Minneapolis, and that's been awesome. I mean, seeing people come out, like, today it's negative, I don't know, it's -5 degrees, and you still get, people coming in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like, what we're here to do is rebuild education from a grassroots level. So not like, what was taught to us in school, that's learning, because how much of school do you actually remember? Probably not much. How much of school actually prepared you for the real world? Probably not much. So what we're here to do is help parents who are looking for new solutions, and just people in general who want to get highly educated. And so, yeah, so we have a team that does that, and that's been fun to see the turnout and just the level of people coming in.
For real,
yeah. Yeah, I think that's been cool, and just overall as well, like, I mean, there's so much happening. I don't even remember what we spoke about last Friday in specific, but like, we have salespeople all around the U.S. that are now consistently making money working with us, and that's been really cool to see, because it's one thing to be able to like get your own goals and hit your goals and everything, but it's another thing to actually be able to open up opportunity for other people so that they can get money, not just for themselves, but then for their families and for those that they care about. Like, that's what this is really about. So that's been cool.
That has been really cool. Because it's like, when somebody comes to you and they're struggling with money, just giving them money is not a solution. That's like the fishermen thing.
Yeah,
you know,
give 'em a fish.
You don't just give them a fish, you teach them how to fish.
Or you can give them a fish, but then also when you do that, you teach them how to fish, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like you can do both, but...
Yeah, but you don't just want to give the money away to people. You want to also support them to know how to bring it in themselves. And just doing that and seeing, like, people's lives drastically changing, them showing up differently, them holding themselves differently, their confidence going up. And also, like, paired with that, not only becoming confident and learning sales and getting that money to come in, some people even choose to use the tool themselves because they're like, yeah, this is amazing, this works. They use it and then they upgrade even more. And it's just, yeah, I think aside from, you know, building the business itself, working individually with our sales team members has been one of the most satisfying parts of doing what we do. I absolutely love it.
That's been cool. And then also, like, so we'll go downtown and Jess and I will walk around the Skyway. And it's like every third shop that's open, Jess will know somebody. And it's like, oh, hey, remember that, blah, blah, blah. And so what I see is, I mean, face it, like most people nowadays don't even want to leave their home. Mm-hmm. It's like, just have Amazon deliver the stuff, or let's just stay in and whatever. It's like you can always find an excuse to stay home. But what I really admire about Jess is that she's actively built our network here locally. I mean, I have too, but she's on a next level. Like, she was living down there, working down there in one of the nicest hotels. So, like, she's acquainted with a lot of people downtown. And that's what's been so cool, because as you see things kind of opening back up, to just see what it's like to have real connections where you can put a name to a face and have a real relationship. That's been awesome to see. Oh yeah, we're working on bringing Teddy to the office too. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
They're all like, "Oh my gosh, bring your dog in." I'm like,
we'll just wait until he's a little bit more potty trained, but he's almost there.
Yeah, but so that's been fun anyway, to just see like what we have planned over the next 2 to 5 years is going to be huge. And people will look back at these videos and they'll say, oh, I guess they were talking about it this whole time.
Yeah.
But in terms of like grassroots, like marketing campaigns, starting political parties, creating real community-wide solutions, that's what this is all about. You know, we're working on having like youth mentorship programs, re-education for people who've lost work, how we can properly support them to get new ways of making money, the skills that they need to succeed in the post-COVID future. COVID probably will never go away, but you know what I'm saying. It's like everything's shifting, and so we're positioning ourselves to build community locally and around the U.S. and around the world, of course. But that local component is just something where it's like so easy to go on Facebook and pretend like, oh yeah, I'm like connected to all these people and it's cool because you're like, you know, liking people's stuff and, you know, interacting and like we love using social media to connect with people. But there's another point, which is actually being able to go and meet your neighbors or go have those conversations with, you know, the people around you that you see on like a day-to-day basis. And that's been awesome. And especially seeing with like, so we're here in Minneapolis and just seeing what's happened over the past year from COVID lockdowns to then everything with George Floyd and then defunding the police and just seeing how downtown completely change. Most places are boarded up still.
Yeah. That's been fascinating.
And the Skyways, like everything had kind of closed down, but now there's like this awesome opportunity where there are still people around and people are looking. Like, so we host a meetup as well every 2 weeks. And last week at the meetup, we had a couple new people come by and they're like, you guys are the only people in the whole Twin Cities that are doing in-person stuff. Like, I've been looking for this.
Yeah.
And that's really reassuring because I think the vast majority of people are like, oh, let me just stay home, stay safe, that whole thing. But we're not really talking to those people. We're talking to the 10 to 20% of people who are like, yeah,
I need human contact.
Yeah, I need
let
human
me go
contact
talk to people.
And like I want to enjoy the world.
Yeah.
I'm not content with just playing on my iPhone or just like escaping reality. But that's where things are headed, is where at some point, pretty soon, video games, AI, AR, VR, that's going to be so dang realistic that we're going to lose a huge part of the population to people who want to just be like that.
Yep.
And just sit in their virtual reality kind of thing. But for those of us who are real and like to be in the real world and have real human physical contact, right? I like real Jess better than virtual Jess, even though virtual Jess is cool too. Nothing like, really being together in person. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be even more common in the future, where people are going to crave that. So consider for yourself, like, what are you doing right now to build locally? Even if you just have like one or two friends who kind of like vibe and want more for themselves, host a meetup. Do something, do a Saturday afternoon get together once a month or something. Just say, hey, come by. Maybe we all bring some food and just have like a point to talk about. I mean, we'll do the meetup and we'll literally have like one word or concept or phrase. Yeah. We'll just bring in a whole group of people.
Just talk about it. And just
talk
go. It out, mash it up.
Yeah. And I didn't used to be able to do that. I think you've always been a talker, but ever since I started using TechnoTutor, I mean, my ability to just take what's on the inside and get it out and just like make it articulate and compelling, just like kind of automatic.
That has been sharpened though. Even though I've always been open to talking to people, that articulation and just concise. I'm getting more and more concise with my words, and that has been fascinating to see. I typically would explain things multiple times. Even though the people in the room would get it, I just wanted to say it multiple times for some reason. Just like all this stuff, it's...
Yeah. So that's cool. Amani, I appreciate your comment. So what's funny is actually this is actually really, really interesting. I've had multiple conversations. I won't mention with who, but I think some of you are watching. Some of you will see the replay of people that I'm talking to that are not really... like not a fan necessarily of where you live. Maybe not like super against where you live, but kind of like, I'd be okay with not living here. And so that'll be, okay, like, I know Jess and I have both faced this point of just looking at like the next 10, 15, 20 years of where we want to be. What do we want for ourselves? Where do we see the future of the world? Is it going to even make sense to live in a city? Maybe, maybe not. And so we've been having these types of conversations with a variety of people of like them considering, well, yeah, I might move away, or I might, find a different city or a different state or whatever. So that'll be really interesting to see what happens, because we have a whole strong network all around. And for us, we see it's about taking responsibility in the cities, that we live in. But I also see how there's like a lot of... It's just a lot to be willing to take on responsibility to change a city. And that's our focus. And so, it'll take years, but that's what we're about.
Definitely. And I see, this house is great. It's a great first house for us to live in. We love the neighbors we have, and
our neighbors are so cool. Oh man.
Yeah, especially one of our neighbors. They're so great.
He's like the ultimate neighbor that you always wished you had. Like,
yeah.
He's like, hey, if you need a snowblower, I got you. Oh, you guys just moved in, you need help with a lawnmower? Yeah, borrow my lawnmower. He's like, I'll take your dog on a walk.
Yeah, he literally has any power tool you want. And if you need a power tool that he doesn't have, he said, ask me for it so that I have excuse to go get one.
He's like, okay. Okay, if any of you don't live in Minnesota or know what snow is, it's like, it's okay, if it snows and then you drive over the snow, it gets really compact and it sucks to like get it off. And I'm looking at him the other day, he's got this like really epic looking shovel. I was like, dang, what is that shovel? He like gives me the whole rundown. He's like, oh yeah, you gotta go like down, south of the city and get this, but it's like the best. I'm watching him just like, he's just crushing it on his driveway. I'm like, dang, he just like gives me the recommendation, all that. So anyway, shout out.
Yeah. I don't think we have our neighbor on social media, but he's great. So is his wife, like very friendly, very supportive. Really cool. Love our little Teddy. But what I was saying is, regardless of, enjoying where we live now, I see eventually, I don't know when the timeline will be, but eventually I'd like to move somewhere a little more rural, where there's more space. I'm talking like 5+ acres to have animals and a huge garden and just be even more. What is he?
I don't know. I'll go check.
Be even more self-sustainable, you know?
Yeah.
Like eventually we want to be fully self-sustainable, either alone or with the community members around us. You know, say somebody else has a cow before we have a cow and they have fresh milk, and we could get that fresh milk and we can make butter and we can make cheese. And yeah, bartering.
Okay. This became. I'm curious how many other people thought about this when it was like, I think March, April of last year, when it got real, and it was like, oh, there's gonna be like a lockdown, and everyone goes to the grocery store, and there's like bread's not available, no toilet paper, paper towels, Lysol's gone, right? It's like, I mean, that was eye-opening to me because we were both living in the heart of the city.
Yeah, and I didn't have a vehicle. That's another thing. I didn't have a vehicle, and so I would literally have to walk to my grocery stores, and there was like 2 within walking distance and 1 that was like 2 miles away, right? And like if I had to, I could walk there. And the Skyway system would connect me most of the way. But I went to both of those grocery stores and none of them had toilet paper. And none of them had bread. None of them had rice. None of them had like canned goods. Nothing. And I'm like, I am out of toilet paper. I was like posting on social media like, guys, I need toilet paper. I had to like go into the common areas in our at the apartment I was living in at the time, into the like public restroom. But then they locked up the toilet paper in there because people were taking
Of course. That's hilarious. But so that right there was a wake-up call, I'm sure, for many of us, right? And that was when I started to realize,
we gotta learn how to make our own toilet paper.
Exactly. And thus began our business, Toilet Paper Enterprises. That's all for tonight, folks. So, yeah, it was like really looking at, wow, we consume so much stuff and living in a city. I mean, she grew up on like, farm world. I didn't really. I was a little bit outside of the city. But just looking at like, how much you consume, and you don't even think twice about where does this come from, or even like, this is real food that got turned into these like Oreos or whatever you're eating. I mean, that was me. I'll still eat an Oreo here and there, but it's like that's a wake up call, and so Jess and I started to realize, let's get a place where we can work toward being fully self-sustaining. It's obviously going to take multiple iterations of it, but that'll be cool.
And like initially after having kids, they'll be my main focus until they're more self-directive, they're more independent, and they're able to support me with the
We'll be just like those old school pioneers where they had like 10 kids so that they can all help.
We're not gonna have 10 kids.
I don't know, Jess.
When were you gonna tell me you wanted 10 kids?
We're definitely not gonna have 10 kids.
I'll have 2 and then raise them, and once they're 18, we can look at having another. But I don't know if that would be best. Yeah,
I've never heard. Can you do that?
Well, I guess you could wait till they're like 16 or maybe like 12. Wow. You know, like they're independent. Our kids will be adults when they're 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll play other basketball teams. Dora, you and Justin have got to get your own 10 kids. Asia, right? Like, we're all going to pair up and we'll have a giant basketball tournament.
Ours would win. Okay,
yeah,
I'm so tall.
She's pretty tall.
He's tall.
I'm tall.
We're both athletic.
Yeah.
Going down. You're going down. They have us as coaches. You're going down, okay?
Plus, we might need backups in case one gets injured. Should we still have 12 kids just to do it? Okay, 12 kids.
We need 5 on the court in basketball.
I don't care.
10 with...
That way they can scrimmage, practice against each other, sub out. We're ready. Oh, plus it'll help when we have like a garden and everything. They can walk Teddy. Think how many walks Teddy could go on.
He wouldn't need to walk. If we're on a big enough property, he'll just run around and do his thing.
That's true. So anyway, that's like part of our plan. Maybe not the basketball team, but definitely not having 10 kids. But that's that's a bit of our vision.
Oh! Another thing is having a big enough property to have like a guest house. And so if any of like the distributors that are underneath us want to come visit and hang out, guess what? We got a whole house for you. You come, spend time around us. Let's mastermind, like have our own little mini event over a weekend.
And the point of that is like a lot of this has been inspired, at least for me, from Cameron and Katie. I know for you too, Jess.
Yeah, of course.
And seeing how they approach parenting. Cameron and Katie Cope, if y'all don't know who that is.
Follow them.
And just how, they follow them on social media. They post really good stuff.
Cameron Cope on YouTube as well is golden.
Yeah, and just seeing how they approach parenting. And it's like they're very mindful of who is around their kids. Because like people will impulse kids. And so much of it is like unintentionally. But you know how like older people are sometimes like, oh, the kid, oh, you're so cute. And they like want to tickle them and stuff. But it's like, if you really look at it, it's like that older person, mostly they're unaware, but it's like they want to get that kid to react. Because it's like fun. The kid's like, like being chased. But it's actually like, it's not best to have... Unless the kid understands what's going on, and the kid's like, yeah, chase me. I want you to chase me and whatever. So
imagine like an old man just chasing you as a child, and you not knowing why he's
chasing
and
you're just
you.
I don't like this. I'm going to kind of scream and like, ha, 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 right? But like, that happens. So how we're anticipating as we have kids is it's like being very intentional about who can, be around them, people being stable, that kind of thing. And as this keeps growing and our network keeps expanding, as many of you who are watching this are part of TechnoTutor, what's going to be possible when we all have kids and then all those kids are friends and then they start to connect about like bigger and bigger things? That's going to be some truly next level shit.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up. Like the fact that Max is, literally programming computers and he's
playing chess.
4. And it's like, and it's not just like, oh, cool, he's one of those special kids who can play chess. Like, no, he can do that, but with anything. He can tell you about gardening and go on for 30 minutes about plant life cycles. And so...
And Greek letters.
Yeah, so point being, yes, that's Max and Seneca and some of the other kids within TechnoTutor currently. But now imagine when we have 20 of those kids and we're all
30,
hanging out
40,
and people
50,
are coming
100.
to stay, for a week and we can all connect and whatever. Like, that's what the new world looks like from our perspective. And so that's what we're building. And so that's why we work every single day towards it.
Yeah.
That's the bigger vision. And that's why, like, I think, Jess, you made a post about the jet that we're looking at. Because straight up, we have friends and business partners up in Canada. And right now, and where it's headed is like, it's ridiculous. And it's definitely going to be mandatory vaccine to travel. They already are proposing that on Qantas Airlines over in Australia. And but when you have enough money, that shit doesn't matter. And so that's not why we want to make the money the only reason. Obviously, you need money to truly impact the world, which if you can't tell you, that's what we're here to do. But just looking ahead and as we keep getting more clear on that, and we have more people around us clear on that, and everyone's like moving up in their own way, shape, and form, that's what's so cool because we're not in this alone. Yeah. And there's, I don't know, you have so many people hitting you up, and I don't even know, like,
today alone,
so many of my
crazy.
Facebook messages are just like getting buried, and it's really cool because the demand is clearly here. People are finally fed up with the mainstream narrative of like just accepting whatever they see on the news.
Right.
And
it's so great.
It's really great.
It's like sometimes I have enough time to answer everybody once in one day, and then the next day answer everybody once. Because it's like, when I answer people, I want to be totally present with them in that moment, and I don't want to be doing anything else. I just want to be focused on them, give them my time, answer them in the best way that I can. And then it's like, oh, Teddy needs to go to the bathroom. Oh, I need to make dinner. Oh, I need to do this.
Make me banana bread with chocolate chips.
Oh, it was not only chocolate chips. It was also chocolate chunks and cacao powder.
Wow, it was
chocolate banana
so chocolatey. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I had that. I'll probably have some more of that too.
It was tonight. So good.
But that's that's what's really cool about this. And just like, I mean, think about it. We're having a conversation with this new lady who's kind of, come into the group, and she's become a client with TechnoTutor. She's just looking at, like, she has a daughter who's very, very young, and she's like, I don't want my kid going to school wearing a mask all day. Like, she can't understand the teacher. You can't fully understand what everyone's saying around you. 8 hours a day. Now there's actually studies that have come out about the negative effects of the mask. So finally the science is out there for the scientists who need to know that. But it's like, you couldn't just tell that someone not being able to read half of someone's face was not harmful. Like,
well, not only
like
that, the lack of oxygen too. So their brains aren't even getting as much oxygen as they need.
Exactly. And so this lady's like, I do not want to have to send my kid back in that environment. I'm afraid of by next year, it's going to be mandatory to have vaccines. I've already seen posts about that being in LA. I don't know if it's true or not, but I definitely see that's where it's headed. And so do you want, let's say you have kids or kids you care about, or you're going to have kids one day.
Yeah.
Because most of us have that desire. Like, do you want to just accept status? Like, who here actually liked school? Like, who here actually liked going to school? I have yet to meet anyone who liked school. But how many parents that hated school still put their kid back in school?
Yeah, what the heck?
Well, there's like some trust point of like, well, they're the experts and parents don't necessarily feel so confident to put their kids back in school.
That's because they went through school, so they don't have the confidence to do anything.
Exactly.
Literally anything. Except the one thing that they're naturally good at, and they need to use that in their career to be a workerman for somebody else, for them to make money so they can pay somebody else's paycheck, and they don't know anything else, and they haven't developed any other part of their lives because they weren't supported as a child or throughout school. So they have one tiny little niche, and they repeat that niche for the rest of their life.
Look up John Taylor Gatto, Gatto. Listen to his stuff. He was the New York City and New York State teacher of the year, spent years in the public school system in New York. And he can explain firsthand where the education system comes from. There's a reason that the elite families of the world, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, all their kids and their grandkids, they don't go to public school.
Are you kidding me?
They have very specialized education where they focus on their kids' self-esteem.
You know what's crazy about that?
What is crazy?
That's public knowledge.
Yeah.
It's out there for you to see, and yet you advocate for the system that perpetuates abuse. All the answers are right in front of you. Just like the live I did the other day about companies competing. Like, of course companies are competitive. Of course companies don't want anybody else to go against them.
Yeah.
And of course, big companies that make trillions of dollars are going to use their influence in politics and in the way that society is run to continue that.
Yeah.
Hello. I think we've got other stuff.
But just think about this.
We're just going off on this life.
So in this scenario, right? It's like you have your kids and you can put them in school because you don't necessarily know maybe how to educate your kid or whatever. Okay. That's an option. But then you could also look and see what's possible and see what we're doing with TechnoTutor and the radical impact it's having on families, adults, children. And you get to see, oh, there's a better way. Plus my kids can have really cool friends and they can build cool things together and they can learn not just, 8 hours a day, sit in your desk and do the assignment because who wants to do that? But rather look at learning as an approach to life where you can support your kids so they could go in any library, pick up any book, and they can read it. And that right there, that is how we can equip our kids, ourselves, and everyone for the future. And that's what's possible, and that's what we do every day. That's what we're dedicated to. So without too much more, I have a call I have to jump on in 1 minute. Anyone want to see? Oh, check it out here. We gotta show you the dog of the hour.
Detonator.
He's out cold. Oh, sorry. I woke you up, buddy.
He's like, cold. It is so cold outside.
Yeah, he's about to go back to sleep. Okay. Yeah. We wore him out today. Yeah. Oh, Mercedes, that's so awesome. Yeah. We're here for you every step of the way because your daughter is about to be next level. And it might take some time, but this is the new way. So awesome. All right,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
Have a wonderful
great
night.
evening.
Share the video if you got any value from it and stay tuned. Bye.